Hi, and welcome to Find What Moves You. My name's Tracy, and it's my dream to inspire people to live active, healthy lifestyles. Today with me, I am lucky enough to have Keith Ailey. Keith, welcome, and thank you so much for doing this today.
Thanks for asking me.
So you are a teacher at Superior CBI, yes, and a coach there.
Yep, that's right.
What I would like to know from you first is, where did your fitness or sport journey begin?
I think as a young man, I played all kinds of sports, organized and the unorganized, and so I was always active. And then, you get a little bit older, and I think I was kind of just gravitated towards the gym in later high school and university, just going to the gym. And then when my career started, I was really playing hockey maybe 2 days a week, and I started to look for something to fill in the spaces between the hockey games, and I wasn't very good at hockey, and what can make me better? And I thought about running and biking, so I started doing those things, and I really started to enjoy those sports by themselves, even not just as training for hockey, but by themselves. They were super fun, and you could just go longer and harder, and you could see measurable increases. So I think that's kind of where it started. When I met my wife, Marilyn, she was a competitive mountain biker, and she said, we got to go and get you like a good bike from a bike shop. I had like an old rickety, big box store bike, and as soon as I got on a good expensive bike, game changer, and I kind of fell in love with biking, and that kind of led to the other endurance sports.
So what I heard from you right there was you were playing hockey, you weren't very good at it, and you're looking for something to fill in between. So that kind of lets us know that you're a competitive person.
Yeah, for sure. I always like to think I'm not, but then I get in a race and I'm competitive for sure. And but I think the idea of self-improvement all the time, and that's something that endurance sports has given me as a way to focus my energy onto improving, and you can see in times. Even measuring heart rate or watts, there's so many ways to measure improvement in endurance sports.
So that being said, what is a day in the life of you? Like, are you getting up in the morning? Are you active immediately? Are you active every day?
I'm a high school teacher, so that's a job that requires a lot of energy. And anyone who has a couple teenagers at home knows they'll require quite a bit from you. Well, in my day, with all my classes and the kids I coach, I'm working with over 100 teenagers every day. So that requires...
I had 3, and that was a lot.
Exactly. So I have to hit the ground running every morning when I step in the building. And so I energize myself in the morning with some activity every single day. On a great day, that's me and my dog going out on the fat bike before school. We did that yesterday, and it was awesome. Sometimes it's riding the trainer and doing some Zwift for half an hour just to get things moving. And quite often it's just body maintenance, some stretching, some yoga, maybe some weights, and just kind of keeping everything moving. But I try and do something every single day when I wake up for sure to start.
So your day sounds exhausting, but I'm a believer in this too, that energy creates energy. So if you're doing output, you get the input. You believe that as well?
Absolutely,
I'm guessing.
yeah.
Like if you have a day where you're sedentary, you probably are more tired, have less energy, right?
For sure, and I find I try not to string 2 days like that together, because then it starts becoming a pattern. So I try and move every single day, and often I'll do something for myself in the morning, then I'll take my daughter skiing to her ski training in the evening, and I'm not the type to sit in the chalet, so that's another 2 hours of skiing at night, and when I hit the pillow, I'm ready to go to bed.
Yeah, I guess so. So you said a whole bunch of things in there. You said the word Zwift. I'll ask you about that in a minute, but you also said fat bike, and not everybody knows what that is.
So the fat tire bike is, they have really wide tires. Mine are 5 inches wide as opposed to a regular mountain bike, which is around 2 inches and maybe in a bit. And we ride them in the winter, and it's just a way to keep staying outside, fresh air, keep moving. And for me, I think consistency and variety have been key to me staying with sports. And so I couldn't just do Nordic skiing all winter and I couldn't just ride my bike, but going back and forth between 2 or 3 activities is a great way to always be motivated. So the fat bike is great. We have lots of trails in the city. We have a really huge network at Shunya and Kinsman Park that's all groomed now. And yeah, we have studded tires on these bikes, and they're a lot of fun for sure.
I did try it one winter and I fancied myself a fat biker after that. I've never been since, but I did accidentally get off the trail. I fell off, and when you fall off the trail, you have that whole, it's not groomed anymore, and I was probably waist deep in snow. So you have to be fit just to get back on your bike.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you went to a competition recently, yes?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of internal motivation. I need something external to focus on. And so I like to pick big, exciting events. I've been lucky to do a lot of really cool stuff in my life. And I've done national championships for skiing and cyclocross on the bike, but I hadn't done anything really big for the fat bike. And the chance to do the Fat Bike World Championship race came up. It's normally in Colorado, but it was in Wisconsin this year, and yeah, and I had some buddies going, and it kind of worked out, and so it was a really fun weekend. And the key to those big races that we go to is not so much the race itself, but just the whole weekend with friends. Catching up with some buddies that I haven't really seen a lot of lately, and yeah, it's a great experience.
So definitely like-minded people that you're hanging out with.
For sure.
I think it's funny that you said you needed something external, not internal. I believe you probably have some internal motivation doing all the things that you do. But the community part of it, can you speak to that a little bit? I always like to mention it on the show, how much having community can bring people together and motivate you at the same time.
For sure. And that's the cool thing about endurance sports is the community is huge here in Thunder Bay. And really, I have a couple groups of friends. I have a group that I go fishing with, and I have a group that I do sports with. And I've met so many really cool, interesting, motivational people through sport that I consider myself so lucky because I have all these great friends. I couldn't do a ton of stuff by myself. I don't like riding my bike by myself too often, and I think it's important to have I have my family who does it with me, and B, I have a friend group. So very rarely am I stuck doing it alone.
Having the family do it with you is a big one too. I know that's the reason I started running in the first place, because all my kids were running. So that's what brought me, really into sport as well. So with I said you had mentioned another word there. If you could just quickly tell us what Zwift is.
Yeah, so it's an online training racing app. So you have your bike on a stationary trainer in your basement or your garage, and there's a power meter that measures how much watts you're creating, and you have a little avatar on the screen, and you could be doing a virtual ride or race with people in France and Italy and America, all over the world. There's people doing this, and it's pretty cool. It's a great way on when the weather is not so good. It's a great way to stay motivated and do something fun.
Thanks for that, because that's a pretty foreign word for most people.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with Keith just after this. Hi, and welcome back. We're here with Keith Ailey discussing sport of all kinds. So Keith, you mentioned a lot of different sports already, but what are you doing right now? Like, what are the things that you're focusing on?
Really, for me, it's whatever my friends and family are doing. So in the wintertime, my family have gravitated towards Nordic skiing, and so I'll ski a couple days a week with my family, and some fat biking on top of that too. And I've kind of got the itch for triathlon again, so I don't know, I might start adding a little running or swimming in there.
So you said again, that's something I didn't even know you were doing. We need to put a little bookmark in that for a second. Okay, so you said skiing, and I only know from talking to you previously that skiing wasn't always your favorite.
No, so I didn't ski as a child. And I think with a lot of sports, it's starting young and getting a feel for stuff when falling doesn't hurt. And
I agree.
and as an adult, everything is so much more difficult to learn. And skiing was one of those things where, when we had children, we were looking for something where we could all do together, and skiing is a perfect thing to do in those long Thunder Bay winters.
And we're talking cross-country skiing.
Cross-country skiing, Nordic skiing, skate and classic. And so I tried a few times, and every time I would do it 20 minutes and I quit. I'm never doing that again. It was so frustrating.
Hey, it's like golf.
Yeah, because it's so technique based, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't have the technique. And then I was very lucky. Someone recommended I go to this adult learn to ski group at Lappy, and that was the aha moment. So I had Rayo Peltonimi and Mark Thomas, who were adults teaching other adults, and they focus very much on technique. And as soon as you get that technique and you find everything starts working together, and the glide is suddenly there, and you're not pouring sweat every second, and all of a sudden Nordic skiing was super enjoyable, and I could now go longer and faster, just because I learned how to do it properly.
So that's not something that we find in every sport, adults teaching adults. So that program, is it still running?
It is, yeah.
Okay. So something people, if you're interested, could still go to and learn how to cross-country ski, because it is a struggle. I only started 3 years ago, and I thought I was going to be good at it. And my very first 2 minutes in on a very small slope, I was, skis were gone, poles were, still attached, unfortunately, because they're around your wrist, but it wasn't easy. But once I learned technique, I have a very good teacher, then it was a lot more fun. So you also mentioned, though, that you have daughters,
Yes.
and your wife skis as well.
Yes.
So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, one of the things that has bound us together as a family has been endurance sports, and we do a lot of stuff together. And quite often, it'll be one of us. I sent them all a text this morning because one of my daughters is away at university. Who wants to do this triathlon? Who wants to do this fat bike race? I sent out a couple messages this morning, and we're always inspiring each other, looking for stuff to do. And my daughters are both better skiers than me now, so we don't necessarily ski together, but just the drive out there, half an hour each way in the car, it's time together. It's again, I'm very fortunate to have a family that is supportive of the stuff I do and a willing participant in doing stuff with me. We go on all these vacations, and we take there's a bike rack with 4 mountain bikes on the back, and it's just so awesome.
Yeah, it's not often that you find all 4 or all the members of the family want to participate in the same things, but your daughters are accomplished as well as your wife in their own right.
Yeah.
Yeah, in what they're doing too. When you are learning to ski, learning all these things, are you picking up techniques for coaching?
Oh, for sure. Because something that works for me, I can absolutely repurpose to when I'm coaching a high school athlete. And I should say I'm still involved in a master's training group at Lappy, but these are like the race team coaches. And so once a week I go and I'm still getting technique help. And
still?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something, because skiing is just so technique focused. It's something where it's very helpful to have someone continuously giving you little things to improve on.
Yeah.
And I like that. It gives me something to focus on when I'm skiing around.
Yeah.
Just focusing on a little improvement here or there. And
I think that's kind of a good key for sport and a good key for life. If you think you're there, if you think you've got it, then you probably maybe need to rethink that, right? There's always room for improvement. Okay, so now I want to go back to our bookmark of you being a triathlon, which is something I didn't even realize. It's regular, like, were you doing Olympic distance or full?
I'm not much of a runner, and I haven't been able to run in a couple of years because of a knee injury, and I've never been much of a swimmer. But the idea of doing 3 sports all in one was too irresistible for me. So I bought a wetsuit, which floats me, and then all I have to do is kick and swing my arms, and I'll I'll finish the swim course eventually.
Yeah.
I can usually make up quite a bit of ground on the bike and then hold on the run. And I'll do a sprint distance, or I've done some Olympic distance. And I've done both the Xterra off-road triathlon.
Can you talk about that for a minute? Because
Yeah.
not everyone knows what that is as well.
Yeah, so triathlon is you start with a swim, then you transition to a bike, and then you transition to a run, and it's your accumulated time for those 3 sports, including the transition of clothing and equipment in between.
But there's 2 distances, you said.
Yeah,
Can you just
yeah.
explain
So a
that?
sprint is really short. Then there's an Olympic distance, which is long and challenging, and then there's the crazy half Ironman and Ironman distances, which I couldn't survive the swim, so I haven't done those yet.
Oh, I have a friend that when I say yet to her, she always says, and there it is. That means you're going to be doing it. Do you feel that way?
Maybe it'll be a retirement project. I have a little more time on my plate. I want one of those Ironman tattoos. I'm not writing it off just
Right.
because I can't run or swim.
So I'm a firm believer in if I've gone, say registered for a race and you don't make it for whatever reason, you can't go, something comes up, it's canceled, but you get the t-shirt. Sometimes you get them in advance. I can't wear that t-shirt. So you need to do that full Ironman and get that tattoo. I kind of get that.
Yeah. So what we're focusing on now is in Thunder Bay, the Xterra off-road triathlon.
This is really exciting because it was not on for a while,
Yeah,
right?
So it was always out at Sleeping Giant Park, and we always participated as a family. So when the kids were young, they would just do the run portion of it, and now everyone, my youngest daughter is 16 very soon, and so we'll be able to all do the triathlon. And
That is super exciting.
And it's moving into Thunder Bay, so it'll be based in Boulevard and then the mountain bike trails of Centennial.
Okay, I was just going to ask you that. I've never participated in the Xterra. I actually don't know myself what's involved.
Yeah, so it's a swim, and then you transition to a mountain bike, and then finally a trail run. So when it was at Xterra, my wife qualified for the World Championships in Hawaii. She went there, and the off-road was really technical, and which is great for her. But it's far more challenging, I think, than an on-the-road discipline. Yeah, there's some extra bumps and rocks and roots.
Thank you for sharing that with us. You can see my shock. Thank you so much. We're going to be right back with Keith in just a minute. Welcome back. We're here talking with Keith Ailey about all things sport. We had just finished talking about the Xterra, which sounds super exciting. I was probably shaking and nodding because it sounds grueling, like trail anything for me. And it is hard, it's tough, right? It's definitely more challenging than road. Some people feel like trail is easier. And then anything mountain biking too. I've decided that I'm not a mountain biker because I'm too tentative. Do you feel like you have to be an aggressive person?
You do. I find when momentum is your friend on the bike, and if you're tentative, that's when you're going to make a mistake and have a crash. And you have to have some fear and caution. You can't just let the brakes go. But it's definitely having some confidence, and building that confidence is key to any off-road sport. So mountain biking, and now gravel racing, which is kind of in between mountain and road, is gaining a ton of popularity in North America. And same thing, you're controlling a drift, and you're often in mud, and
so it's like loose gravel.
Yeah.
Your back tire is going crazy all the time. I know for sure, 100%. There's people out there that would love that.
Yeah.
I am not those people. I like my feet on the ground. I don't mind road biking. I like road biking for distance, not speed. So that's more me, more my speed. But anybody that hasn't tried it, they might be going, oh, hey, that sounds kind of cool and interesting.
It is. I mean, one thing about gravel is you very rarely encounter cars on rural gravel roads, which is a good thing. Yeah. And in the races, we can't all be the strongest cyclist, but with flat tires and mechanicals, and even just managing your nutrition, there's all these X factors that make those sports really fun and give us average guys a bit of a chance at a podium.
The nutrition part is important too. I know that from trail running, from doing ultras, that that's a huge key. Like some people, if you're not getting that right, you're not making it to the end.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, and I think many of us have learned that lesson the hard way.
Yeah.
Is to bonk and then to learn to manage your sugar and fluids intake for sure.
Yeah. So just switching up a little bit here, I mentioned earlier you're a teacher at Superior CBI and you are a coach,
That's right.
So do you want to just list off your coaching experiences?
Yeah, I started my career, I mean, when you're a young teacher, you go and do what they need you to do. And so I started with volleyball and badminton.
Were you good at those sports?
No,
Okay.
no. But
Okay.
I love learning stuff. And you know, I'd go to the gym with, and I'd serve a couple hundred volleyballs over a weekend and figure out how to serve so I can teach the students. But pretty soon, I say we, my wife and I coached together. We kind of decided the best thing that we could do to give back to our school community is to instill a love for sports that will keep the kids active for life. And so now our focus is in the fall, we have cross-country running. In the winter, it's Nordic skiing. And then in the spring, it's mountain biking. And these are sports that, you know, your athletic career doesn't have to end after high school. And it's something you can do with your family one day. So that's where we've put our focus probably the last almost 20 years now into coaching those. And
Always together?
yeah, since I moved back to Thunder Bay and started teaching here again, we've always been together at the same school.
That is so incredible. Yeah. And there's something about, like I've always said in this show, that I want to inspire people, and my target has always been people that are 40 plus. And what you're bringing to us today is really grassroots, teaching them from when they're in school and instilling that. And I'm sure you've inspired people. Actually, I know for sure you have inspired people, because my son is one of them that you inspired to get on a bike, and he hadn't really done it before. So there's something to be said there for starting, you know, from when they're really young.
Yeah, and often we find that when you leave high school, you get busy with college or university and getting that career started, or maybe a family. And then later on, when you're in your 30s and maybe even 40s, a little more time and expendable income opens up. And if you have a background from high school in run, ski, bike, it's much easier to come back. And so now we're seeing, you know, we go to a community race and there'll be kids that we taught 20 years ago at the races. And it's really cool.
Right, and you know where that came from. So my kids started at Superior. It's not a very old school, and when they were there wasn't really community, because it had just opened. And I know now that's changed. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think the school was trying to find an identity, and often there's a connection with sports. And we knew, we hoped our children would choose to go there, and so we started building a program. And a community within the school of endurance sport. And I think we've had a lot of success now, and in all three sports, winning championships. Kids love to win, and they love, and we get them the coolest jerseys and everything too. They love the clothes, and we have this huge community. So now it's grown to the point where we have former students coming back and help coaching. It's a huge groups. Like the mountain bike team might be 50 kids or more, and it's something everyone wants to be a part of. Like every day, I got kids coming now, can I join the ski team? And it's a matter of finding them equipment. And that kind of becomes our only limiter is what we can find. And I think we're at a point now at Superior where parents know what we're offering, and they'll drive their kids from anywhere in the region or the city, get them to Superior so they could be a part of that athletic sports community there.
So you said you get them the coolest jerseys. Anyone that saw the interview that I did previous to this one, it was with my dad, and he didn't go to Superior. He was wearing a Superior jersey that I know, or t-shirt that I know he got from you. You mentioned the struggle with equipment. Okay, so, and I also know you have some solutions for that.
Yeah, certainly. With skiing and biking and even running, the cost can be a huge barrier for a lot of kids. And so our job is we offer these sports, we make no cuts, and we want to coach everyone, expose everyone to that. But the barrier is often the equipment. And so running is probably the easiest. There's this amazing running community in Thunder Bay, as you know.
I do.
And I've had so many people donate very lightly used runners. And so we'll have kids come out in work boots and skate shoes and stuff that's not appropriate for running. They're going to twist their ankle. And we have boxes of amazing runners that we can get to these kids. And the program has grown to the point where, this year we won the city and then we won the regional championships. And we got all these awesome runners going to offs of the provincial championships. So I had to go to Fresh Air, and I filled the trunk of my car with pairs of cross-country running spikes that I bought from fundraising money, just to support the highest end athletes as well as the kids who just need a pair of shoes.
That deserves mention. That's incredible that you have that much support, that much care for the community. You also belong to other groups besides the teaching, besides coaching. So 2 other groups that we talked about for sure.
Yeah. Well, in the winter, it's Lappy. We spend a lot of time with Lappy. There's an amazing group out there. We have these, like living legends like Brian Barry and Werner Schwar and Paul Inkala are all there. But then there's all these kids too, and it's a great community. And then in the summer, it's mountain biking and road cycling. So with mountain bike, it's the Black Sheep Mountain Bike Club, and they're amazing. They're cool. They offer all these amazing, really awesome, unique events, 8-hour relays, weekly races, group rides, super cool. Thunder Bay Cycling Club is doing gravel races, cyclocross, road races, and there's something for everyone. And the key is that it's the community, the people that I get to go, that we get to go and ride bikes with and ski with. That's what makes it so fun and keeps us doing it.
I know that Black Sheep does really good things for the trail runners too, because they keep them groomed. Thank you so much for doing this today. I am so excited to have this one go to air. People are going to love what you had to say, and thank you so much for all the support of the community. Till next time, everyone.